Don't want to deal with this problem anymore. I am done. I quit. Alright, almost got it. There we get a little closer. Ha! Victory! I always seem to have problems when it's me just recording. So, goes to show I need a little bit more technical skills. So, I have some really great news. On Sunday, I went to go get some lab work done at Kaiser Hospital regarding my diabetes, also known as the A1C test. So what it does is that it's a hemoglobin test, which is the oxygen for your red blood cells and also for your sugars that's from your insulin that comes from your pancreas. It measures where you're at, and there's a certain standard of where the average person should fall in between, if this is the scale, between these lines, figure out where you are, whether you're borderline diabetic, which I firmly believe that there's no such thing as borderline. Either you are or you're not. That's just my personal opinion. And then it measures what your sugars have been for the past 3 months. And Sunday, I went to go get my test done. And just to recap a little bit, and I will show my chart, that when I started doing all this, I was on like a very piss poor diet. I will be honest, I got my butt chewed out by my doctor, and I also got my butt chewed out by the partner I had at the time. And my diet was utter crap. I would go to 7-Eleven in the morning, get a Monster energy drink or a energy drink and donuts, and then also 2 king-size candy bars to have for a snack, then fast food for lunch, because where I worked at that time, there were 4 different fast foods. There were McDonald's, Wiener Schnitzel, Taco Bell, and Jack in the Box. Now, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, and Taco Bell, kind of my thing. If you can see my credit card statement, like 80% of that pie chart is food. Yeah. Anyway, so when I did that for about 2 months, that's when I started to get a knock on my metaphorical door where it affected my health. I started getting a tingling sensation in the back of my throat, a sharp pain on my left arm, and at that point, I was starting to get very concerned. So I decided to change. I decided to cut all that out, sugars, artificial sugars, candies, go on a diet. I did good for about a month, and then I don't remember why or how I backslid, but I did nonetheless. So when I did, I went back to it, but things came back even worse. I started feeling tingling sensations at the tip of my fingers, and the tips themselves were going a little numb. I noticed when I would get up in the morning, I would have to kind of walk around a little bit to get a little bit of blood circulation in my legs, especially my toes. That really scared me. And then once again, I started getting that sharp pain in my left arm and the tingling sensation in the back of my throat. And then on top of that, I started having blurry vision for a little bit. It would go away halfway through the day, but at that point, I was like, all right, enough's enough. I went to my doctor, and my doctor's like, okay, after getting my ass chewed out because of my dietary habits, my doctor said, let's do a A1C test on you to see kind of where you're at. So the A1C range is anywhere from 3.0 to 7.0. And average is about 5.2, I believe. And when I got my results back, I was at an 11.0. And hey guys, so this is my results of what I got from today, or back today, from my test on Sunday. And I wanted to make a couple corrections. So the average standard range for the A1C hemoglobin test is 5.6. And I hit that marker, as you can see, in 2018. And now the results that I got back today is 5.4. So I'm just below the standard average of the A1C. Because when I started in 2015, I was at 11.8, then made my way down to 6.1, then 6.2. I went up a little bit, and then this is where I had my little bit of a drawback from 2016 to 2017, and then 17 to 18 I went back down by more than 2.3 points. And then now to 2019, or 2020, I'm sorry. 2019 was going through a lot of things at that point. Didn't care. My depression hit. A lot of things happened in my life that were major, major blows. But as we can see in 2020, 5.4. Now, from 2015 to 2020, 5 years practically, I've gone down 6 points, which I am 6.4% to be exact. I'm on a great path. All right, back to the video. That's pretty dangerous at that point, letting it go for so long. Then my doctor's like, okay, this is it. You are now a diabetic. That was by choice, but diabetes runs very strong in my family. My grandmother had it, my mom had it. I don't know if my biological father had it, but I'm gonna go with sure, he did. And it's very common in Mexican culture, Black culture, Puerto Rican culture, Filipino culture, that diabetes runs very strong. I personally feel that it attributes to the foods that we've had throughout our generations that get passed on down. I'll be honest, pan dulce sounds great at 10 o'clock at night with some coffee and a movie, but if continuing that up, that just leads to a lot of problems. So I made the change. And I slowly started to notice that the insulin and the metformin, which is the pills, started to help me, but at a certain point in time, I started getting tired of constantly having to find a spot on my stomach, poke myself, inject the insulin, do that again over and over and over. Then fast forward to about 3 years later, I noticed that it went from 11.0 to about 4 points down, which was great progress. And for that, I was like, man, I'm on a good roll. And so I decided, let me take this a step further. So to fast forward to now, it's now 2020. Yesterday, today's Monday, Sunday. I went to go get my A1C test done, and I'll be honest, I was very nervous because I don't know where I stood. I didn't know if the work I'm putting in is actually making me progress, or it's just not enough to even start seeing a change. You know, a small rotor on a big ship takes a long time to shift, but eventually it'll shift. So I went into that situation with a very negative mindset, which I should not have done from the beginning. But I'm human, oh well. So there were times throughout this year where I said, I want to quit. I am quitting, is what I kept telling myself. Couldn't find a reason why. Couldn't figure out why I needed to say that to myself of I am quitting, because I've never been the kind of person to quit on myself. And all I have is me in the end of it, right? I couldn't figure it out to the point once again where I said, I quit. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to deal with this problem anymore. I am done. I quit, right? So I got my lab results back today, and I am down to 5.4%, which is a great freaking accomplishment for myself from the previous year, 2 years ago, even let alone from where I started. I am a little bit past 50% from where I was at 11.0 to 5.4, and the average is 5.2. So the next question I have to ask myself is, how much more am I going to push myself to get that extra 0.2 to be at an even 5.0? And second, what will it take for me as far as work, consistency, and effort to get me down to 3.0? I am one step even closer to getting rid of my insulin shots, to getting rid of my metformin, to the point where I am no longer prone to diabetes because of poor choices of eating, lifestyle, and just not caring, and just, you know, the seafood diet. I see food and I just eat it, just right? And my biggest motivational factor was my grandmother, who struggled a lot, and I've said it before in other videos, where my grandmother is the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't want to go through what she did when she was in her 70s, where she lost her eyesight completely in one eye. Then in her late 70s, they started amputating parts of her foot off. It went from like a toe to several toes to half her foot to a below the knee amputation. It started off on one leg and then they just went straight to an amputation for the other. And I don't want that. I am now in the I am now at the point where I'm continuing my new lifestyle, which is beating the shit out of this challenge that was set before me with my diabetes, or going wayside like some people have in the past that I have known, and especially my grandmother. And I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna stand by, do nothing, and then 40 years down the road, holy shit, 40, I'm gonna be 70. Yikes. 40 years down the road, saying I wish I should have started this when I was in my 30s. I'm at the point right now where I am at my 30s, and I am taking my small ass rotor and turning this big ship this way, because this way would have led me nowhere. This way is getting me to the better path that I need to be on. And I'm very happy, man, because first it was my eyes with my optometry, and then on top of that, it's now my actual insulin levels. And it further proves to myself that what I'm doing consciously is getting me to be better. And I'm glad to say that it's getting there, man. Even if it's like 0.2%, which is still a huge marker. Looking at the overall picture, it just adds another piece to the puzzle to complete, to get away from what I'm trying to accomplish, which is phenomenal. And yeah, guys, I'm excited. When I read that email from my doctor, I'm very happy, and I am no longer at the point where I'm saying I am quitting, I am giving up, versus I'm saying, what's the next challenge? Let's get it going. It's definitely changing me internally, in the sense mentally, right? To be better, to be the better version of myself, because I'm putting in the work, I'm being consistent, but also for the people around me that have wanted to be there to support me. This is a result of it, man. Yeah, I wanted to share it in the sense that I'm getting there. I'm really getting there. So yeah, I'm happy. But it's cold. I'm wearing a tank top. It's about to be 10 o'clock and I'm in the backyard and these sprinklers are about to turn on. So if I'm gonna get wet, I'm gonna go take a shower and get ready for bed. Till the next one. Bye, guys.